G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. It's time for episode 5 of Tales of the Jedi. Now the more I keep thinking about this series, the more I sort of think to myself, this is typical Dave Filoni just changing the lore for what he wants to actually show you. And of course, with the title of Tales of the Jedi being ripped off from the EU, the changes to Yaddle and the way that she speaks and the way that she died from the EU, the way that they've changed Dooku's story. And of course, if you do want to see a good Dooku story, you can get that in the Plagueis novel and of course the continuation of his manipulation in the Revenge of the Sith novelization. I just find that this is definitely Dave Filoni changing shit from the EU and of course just bringing in what he wants to bring in and telling the stories that he wants to tell. Now, of course, he can do that if he really wants to. It is Disney's property now. They have decided to decanonize the EU and, of course, pick and choose what they want to take from it and show you. But from my perspective, it's really disloyal to George Lucas. It's disloyal to the fans that like the EU or enjoyed the EU and enjoy real Star Wars for that matter. I just think that this is just another dishonorable thing that they've done in regards to making their own Disney Star Wars and their own canon in that sense. Anyway, let's get into this 5th episode. This is the continuation of Ahsoka's story, so let's just see what this episode has in store for us. It's called Practice Makes Perfect. Let's get into it. And if you are new here, of course, how I do this, I watch the episode, you get to see some of my reactions throughout the episode, and you get my thoughts and my review at the very end of what we just watched. Anyway, let's get into this episode. Hey, at least in this there's some traffic in Coruscant as opposed to the Andor series. Is Kanan just watching on because that's what they want to do? Like, he's the only one there just watching on? Because they've got to have Kanan Jarrus in there. So this is obviously the early stages of them being Padawan and Master, I think. Ahsoka's only got the one blade. I really don't like that. It almost feels cruel. I don't know how much. Okay, I didn't really like that episode, to be honest with you. Anakin seems like a bit of an evil prick throughout that. It just seems like a big nostalgia bait episode, to be honest. The fact that Kanan Jarrus is the only one in this room watching Ahsoka train with the droids, I feel like they're just throwing that in there for no reason. He's sitting over here with his master just watching on, and all the masters are watching on. She obviously can complete that quite easily. This is obviously an evolution of training for Ahsoka. They obviously go to the hangar, and again, like I said, Anakin, it almost feels quite evil from Anakin's perspective. Like, I know he's trying to teach her and trying to train her and make her better and better and better, but the fact that she's getting stunned and then waking up and then pretty much going again and again and again and again. And then obviously it jumps forward again to from her only having the single blade to her being a bit older and having 2 blades in this hangar scene here. And she obviously does well until Rex takes her out. And then it cuts to after Order 66, they've removed Rex's chip and obviously they're going into the hangar with all the troopers aiming at her and she's under arrest and all of that sort of thing. I also feel like there's a big nostalgia drop with Jessie being named and Jessie being the one that hit her in that first part of the training thing. It really, this episode it felt quite pointless, and they're going to obviously say that this justifies why Ahsoka was able to hold off when Order 66 first hit back in the Clone Wars Season 7 when she was surrounded by them and obviously hitting all the blasters up into the ceiling. And that's why she was able to get away with that. So, look, to me, this just felt like... It's really hard too, because there's not a lot of time in these episodes. So, you know, in a short 15-minute episode, they're trying to time jump Ahsoka's training so that you can see her evolution of training from what she got given as a very, very young Padawan, doing it with the droids, and then obviously doing it with the 501st as clones, and then moving into having her 2 lightsaber blades and that sort of thing. So look, I didn't like this episode. I think despite the first episode, which was a bit of a pointless episode showing Ahsoka's birth, this is the second worst episode out of all of them. It's the worst in regards to the nostalgia drop, and I know that people are going to go crazy about this. because not only is it Ahsoka, but also, of course, you get Kanan Jarrus for no reason. You get Jesse, and of course, him being the one that made that final shot and got her really good in that first training sequence. And then, of course, you've got Rex in the 501st, and Anakin being, again, I think Anakin was a bit, it almost came across as cruel to me. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Or let me know what you guys think of the Tales of the Jedi if you're watching it so far. If you've just been watching my reviews, let me know what you think about my reviews on this. As I said, though, at the beginning of this review, too, they're obviously changing the lore. Now, obviously, there's no lore for Ahsoka prior to Dave Filoni creating the character. So, again, he can do what he wants. But, again, to me, it's just disloyal. Disloyalty to George Lucas and disloyalty to Star Wars. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one for episode 6, the last episode. Later, guys.